Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the August 15th, 2022 Board of Selectmen. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll move on to public comment.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak on some things that are on my mind. I believe that the town has a number of open positions that haven't been filled, and I think we're going for at least the third position with the deputy clerk resignation, and I'd like to speak to that, please. The deputy clerk wrote a letter, and I'm sure you all received it, that stated that other people in the building had been hired for a number of dollars more than she had. And she wanted to be brought up to the same thing. Well, with the market being what it is, it certainly is hard to find qualified people for various jobs. She was offered $1 more an hour, which was, in my opinion, somewhat of an insult, since it would have been $3 and probably change more that other people were getting. You had in your deputy town clerk someone who has worked for the town for 11 years. She's been dedicated, she's been efficient, she's been loyal, she's been a really good employee. I think the moves that you made, and I've looked at the position opening, and it's quite a list of things that a deputy clerk has to do. And I noticed on the bottom, it says willing to perform other duties as required. I'm not sure what that means. I know the deputy clerk was told that if she wanted to get more, she needed to become welfare officer, for which she felt not qualified. I'm not sure what required means. Does it mean she leaves what she has to do in the clerk's office? Remember, deputy clerk has to be as qualified as a clerk by RSA 41:36. I think this move, where generally I certainly appreciate you're looking out for my tax dollar, I think this is penny wise and pound foolish. And I'd really be surprised if you're able to get somebody for less than $20 an hour. Please remember what required might mean. Does she take, it doesn't say here she takes over the welfare office, but if that's what ends up being required, or the tax collector's office, if that's what ends up being required, how is this a deputy town clerk? The other thing in this ad, and I don't know other than on the town website where it's posted, you have something that's missing from it, and you may not be aware of it, but a deputy town clerk has to be a resident of this town. Nowhere in here does it state you need to be a resident of the town, and perhaps you want to add that. Again, I think you're penny wise and pound foolish in this instance, and I needed to let you know my opinion on that. The other thing I'm kind of questioning what's happening with the town hall. I think it's been probably over 2 years that it's been closed. I have had some people call me, why me? I have not a clue. Asking me if I know anything about the opening of the town hall because they have departments or committees or groups that would like to use the town hall. And I know from the one time you allowed it open, thank you very much for that, for the 250th anniversary of the Pine Tree Riot, that the bathrooms weren't functioning. I'm not sure how long it takes to find somebody to get the bathrooms functioning, if that's the only reason. If another reason is, well, it's going to cost us money when people use the town hall, well, then restructure your financial requirements of using the town hall to cover the expenses more. I would hope that you bring forward on your agenda what the status is so that people who would like to use it know, and maybe put some pressure on you to make it happen. Thank you very much, and good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Helene. Anyone else on the public comment?
Hello, I'm Angela Drake, Duck Pond Road. I sent a letter to the board about the tax map concern. We have a boundary error in the tax map. Apparently it's been there since they were digitized. We've owned our property for 25 years. The property lines haven't changed in 200 years. But regardless, we were told that when the tax map would be renewed, wouldn't be until April 1st because of the tax season. And I'm wondering when we're going to see that new tax map, ideally with the corrected borders, and I'm hoping that will alleviate some of the border issues that we're having on our property where our borders aren't being respected. So I was hoping that I might possibly get that answer.
I will respond to that.
Thank you.
It is in the map people's hands right now.
Okay.
They have reached out to Naomi today, I believe, and we are gonna let them get a hold of you, and we will schedule a meeting upstairs with everybody, and they'll explain you how it's done. It's not done yet. It's being worked on,
Okay.
okay? Does that sound good?
So they're going to contact,
Either
It'll probably
she,
be through me.
Naomi
Okay.
probably will, and set the meeting up.
okay,
It has to do with the 225-year-old survey with the new survey. It's a long, it's like putting 6 gallons of water in a 5-gallon pail.
okay,
It's just that, it's not, but he's welcome, he said he could come and explain that to you. As to why, when they go from hand-drawn to digitized, that the lines don't always meet. It would have, if Duck Pond never got subdivided, it would have stayed the same that it's always been. But when you have an official meets and bounds on-the-ground survey to something that's 225 years old, doesn't necessarily meet when it did digitizing, so. But I'm gonna leave that to someone else, it's public comment, so.
okay.
But we'll
Thank
be
you. I
in touch to
appreciate
make
the
that.
the
Yep.
response, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Don?
I'd just like to follow up on what Helene Kirk said, and again emphasize that there are people who are looking to use the town hall, and there's even money available to have it fixed. Mildred Hall, besides the funds that she donated that bought a lot of conservation land around the town, put aside $50,000 in her will for work on the town hall and $50,000 for work on Clinton Grove Academy. And I believe that you'll find that there's still $20,000 available for the town hall out of that money that was willed to the town by Mildred Hall. So I don't know that $20,000 would fix it, but it seems like if the deterioration in the floor doesn't go too deep, and that's a question. I mean, it's going to be hard to get bids on it because until they take it apart, they're not going to know. But there is $20,000 setting there specific to that, and I'm sure that she intended for it to be used when the need was there and not held out or banked or whatever. So I would emphasize that there's definitely a big need. There are people looking to set up and schedule events and use the town hall as they have in the past. And there's at least $20,000 sitting there specific for that purpose. Mm-hmm. So I would encourage the board to move ahead, and if it's a time consideration and you need somebody to do some legwork, I've done that on other projects and be willing to help out. Not to make decisions, of course, but just to track down some people who might be interested in doing the job. I don't have anybody in mind, but if it's a time issue, I'd be willing to help out, because I'd really like to see that move ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Anyone else?
Bear with me because I don't like doing this. Donna Osborne, 42 East Road. There was a seed planted at the last meeting about the BOS, having every other meeting. And it's really, really dug deep into my soul because I was a board member 2005, and to my knowledge, not one BOS has got a raise. So that's my feeling on that. And I think that I'm going to set a seed myself because I feel that people don't know behind closed doors what you guys really do unless you've been on the board. April, there was 4 meetings. May, there was 4 meetings. June, there was 6 meetings. July, 3 meetings. And thank God for the board, because they have been going to cemeteries and digging up and helping the members that have lost their kin. And they've been measuring out the plots. So these people are being buried where they need to be buried. And I think it's a shame that just because you're every other weekend that you need to get a cut and pay. If anything, I don't care who's sitting on this board. I think the board needs a raise for what you guys do. That is a burnout job, and no one cares. I'm sorry to say that, but no one cares. Unless you're sitting in that seat and know what you're doing. I'm setting the seed now that that should not ever happen, to get a cut in pay.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment? Being none, we'll go with, meet with State Representative Leah Cushman.
Hey, thank you for inviting me here. So, I guess, my understanding is that we're looking for an update, a legislative update, pretty much on things that affect the town, specifically town government. So, I am not on the municipal and county government committee, so it is not my area of expertise, but I did do some research, and I have a couple of bills just to go over. I just picked bills that have already passed. I didn't bother dealing with things that almost made it through or, you know, had a battle and then fell through. So this year, we had SB 401. That was an allocation of $36 million for municipal bridges, $30 million for municipal roads, and $1 million for body worn and dashboard camera funds, funding to use for police departments. My understanding is that every department, as far as the body cameras, can get up to $30,000 in reimbursement for that equipment. And if you guys have any question on any of these, I'll try my best to answer. Keith is more savvy with this stuff because he's on finance. Keith, our Representative Erf. And if I don't know the answer, I'll just find it for you. I'll find out who does. HB 1221 is another one that impacts the town pretty substantially. It's a one-time payment to the retirement the retirement system for teachers, police, and firefighters in the fiscal year 2023. We're waiting for the amounts that the town is going to get, and actually I have these here. This is state aid that's going to be coming to the town in 2023. Some of them are not known yet because we don't have the numbers from 2022 yet. But those will be coming soon. So that one-time payment from HB 1221 is going to provide 7.5% of the employer contribution costs for those town employees. So to calculate the estimated savings, you just reduce, you know, what our employer contribution is by 7.5%. So hopefully that can be used as a one-time property tax relief. HB 1567, this bill adds penalties for election official misconduct, and the town can also be found liable and face fines up to $1,000 per act of misconduct. SB 239, upon completion of an audit, any audit within the town, financial audit, a copy must be sent to the DRA with penalties of $250 a day for noncompliance. So some of these are just, you know, small changes, but SB 317, that's reducing the interest rate for abatements of paid property taxes from 6% to 4%. So your interest that you're gonna pay when people get abatements will decrease. SB 357, this one requires mental health training regarding post-traumatic stress for first responders. HB 1681, that's just the adoption of the new building codes. And you can find those on the Department of Safety website. And there is a 6-month grace period. I think it's November is the end of that grace period where during that time, anybody who's in queue for building can still use the 2015 or 2018 codes. HB 1681, I'm sorry, just did that one. SB 409, that's regarding disaster relief loans. So in a state of emergency, which is a new condition that would allow it, and previously it was during a disaster, declared disaster, the town can apply for a 0% interest loan from the state, and the governor and executive council can sign off on that. And that's for covering costs expected to be reimbursed by FEMA. There can only be costs that FEMA would cover, but, you know, something good to be aware of. SB 418, this one allows, so this one is gonna probably significantly impact election operations. Starting, it doesn't go into effect until January 1st, 2023, so it won't affect this election. But this really is going to help with protecting us from invalid voting. Allows for a verification of voter affidavits by establishing affidavit balloting. So it's really important for maintaining election integrity. I know we do a great job here, but until this bill goes into effect, anyone can walk into the polling place and claim they're a resident of a district, fill out the affidavit, and afterward, there really isn't a penalty if they never follow up and send in the proofs that they're residents and that they're citizens. So this bill remedies that by providing that if you come to the polls on election day wishing to vote, but you're missing documents to prove your residency and you're registering to vote on that day, you have your photo taken, you're given an affidavit ballot, and they're numbered. So you have 1 week to provide the proofs that you didn't have with you on the day that you registered on election day. And after 1 week, the town clerk would then send a list of the names to the Secretary of State, just letting them know we haven't gotten these back. And they would then reference those affidavit ballots, and they would deduct the votes from that ballot from the final tally. And then after 2 weeks, the Secretary of State's office will decertify, will not certify those votes. So it's basically, then they're referred to the Attorney General's office for investigation. So it's something to tighten up that, you know, that place for fraud that we had. SB 443, this one provides that the Building Code Review Board shall review proposed municipal amendments to the state building code to confirm that the proposed amendments do not conflict with and are no less stringent than the state building code, and require submission of local amendments prior to enforcement. So anytime we do any amendments to that building code, we'll send it in, or you guys will send it in. And Also requires the fire marshal, the state fire marshal, to review local amendments to the fire code prior to enforcement and to publish them to the state fire code. HB 314, relative to homestead food operations, this might be of interest for the town health officer. This bill raises the cap for exemption from licensure and inspection on operations that have a gross sale of homestead foods from $20,000 to $35,000, to really encourage, local food, supporting local food, local economy, small farms. HB 481, this one establishes the Office of the Right to Know Ombudsman and making an appropriation therefore. So they're creating, it is in effect, but it's going to take a little bit of time for them to get it going. Whenever there's a right to know issue, problem with 91A, instead of, if there's no response from the town or there's a violation, instead of a citizen having to go to, Superior Court and petition the court with a civil suit, which costs $280, they'll be able to go to the ombudsman and pay a small fee of $25, and there will be efforts for remediation through that office. It's supposed to make it a smoother process and, hopefully make it a little better. HB 536, this one establishes a death benefit. It basically applies the death benefit available to police and firefighters killed in the line of duty to Department of Public Works employees that are killed in the line of duty. HB 1587, this bill modifies the calculation of compensation paid in excess of the full base rate of compensation under the definition of average final compensation in the retirement system for Group 2 persons hired before July 1st, 2011, who did not vest before January 1st, 2012. So I believe it's taking people who formerly were in Group 1 and giving them Group 2 retirement benefits if they were employed during that specific time. That's one of those ones that is complicated, so if you have questions on that, we can get Representative Erf to help answer those questions. And last on my list is HB 1021. This one just clarifies in law, or protects in law, that no zoning ordinance or site plan review regulation shall prohibit, regulate, or restrict the use of land or structures primarily used for religious purposes, provided, however, that such land or structures may be subject to objective and definite regulations concerning the height of structures, yard sizes, lot areas, setbacks, open space, and building coverage requirements, as long as those requirements are applicable regardless of the religious or non-religious nature of the use of a property and don't substantially burden religious exercise. So I think that one's pretty straightforward. There's a lawsuit currently in Bedford, the town of Bedford. I don't know if you guys saw that. There was a church and they got a permit to build a addition, and they were having church meetings there, and there was some issue with the permitting. Anyway, this law is probably gonna make that lawsuit, gonna make the lawsuit in favor of the church, because the town was kind of putting more of restrictions on them than they would on other entities. So I'll take any questions if you have them.
You got any questions?
Yeah, the very first one, SB 401, you mentioned, go over that one again for me, please. You mentioned body worn cameras for PD, but you also mentioned bridges.
Yep. So 36 million is the funding for municipally owned bridges, and then 30 million for roads. I don't think that on that paper I passed around, and sorry about the streaking, my printer's running out of ink. I don't think that that's on, oh, actually it is. The bridges is on there, right?
Bridge aid?
I didn't keep one for myself. Yeah, so that's all specifically for the town of Weare. And
Okay.
actually, can I borrow one of those?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, extra.
John, I think that's that flat fee.
The what?
I think
Yeah.
that bridge aid is that number that we were referring to a couple months ago that was coming, broke out per town percentage-wise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, with this bill, and there, you'll see that it might change slightly depending on, you know, what we receive from revenue. But, it
was-
looks
yeah.
like the town's gonna be
It
getting.
wasn't a grant issue, in other words. This is automatically being dispersed.
Okay, so we don't have to apply for it or anything like
No.
that?
Yeah.
No,
Okay,
Correct.
all right.
yeah,
And,
it's just allocated.
okay, and the body worn cameras, what, you said 30,000 for that?
Yeah, I believe it's up to 30,000 per department
Okay,
for that equipment.
I think that's if you initially purchase.
Initial, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not replacements,
okay.
because they're urging more, obviously.
Right.
Yep. Okay. That's the questions I had, thank you.
All right, thank you.
I just have can I ask a general question? So, how does somebody in town find out, I mean, you just rattled off a whole bunch of things that have a lot to do with the town. So how does the average person find out about it other than get on the internet? Like, how would you find out that there's something going on about the food? How would you know there's something going on about something else?
So
I know I get several hundred emails a day from the municipal association and other town managers.
Yep.
But how does the average person know that there's something going on at the house about X, Y, or Z?
So, every week that actually every week generally, there is a house calendar that is sent out. It's posted on the general court website.
When you say sent out, do you like sign up like you do with us? Do you know?
Nope, it's not emailed. It's just made available
Okay.
publicly, because it has to be under 91A.
Sure.
So that lists all of the bills that'll be heard before any committees,
Okay.
any study committees that are meeting for that week.
Okay. It
But
gives you a short
otherwise,
idea of, just like you did, of what each bill is?
no, not typically, unless you're looking at session days. Sometimes those will have a small blurb about what's being heard, but on like committee hearings, it won't. So really, outside groups who are focused on specific types of legislation really go and do work because you hear over 1,000 bills every
Yeah, I can see the
year.
number, yeah.
So it's hard for any one person unless you read it, or you go through and read the calendar, and then you can use the general court website and just type in a bill, and you can read the bill. You can see who sponsored it, and who co-sponsored it. You could email the sponsor, their emails are right there, and ask them, what is this, what is it doing? And you have like a really good point, like, a lot of people don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
And it's something
I just
that,
didn't know if there was an
Yeah.
easy way, just with elections coming up, everybody wants support, but how does people find out what's going on? Or how, it's pretty complicated, to be
Yeah,
honest
well,
with you.
yeah, so every week they come out, you just go on the general court website and go down to calendar. There's Senate calendars and House calendars, and you could read through them, every week.
Is there a newsletter or anything that's sent out, like once a month to any?
Not that I know of, I don't think so.
But you know what's going on because you're over there, correct? So could you forward the items that are going on, say to Naomi, so she could at least
I
make
think that
those
would
available?
probably inundate her with so many other emails too.
I mean,
Well, no, she doesn't, I get them from the NHMA anyway.
Oh,
yeah, so
Yeah, we get an overview, but
I think she's talking
again,
about more just the general
I'm just
public.
like more for the general,
Right.
because you mentioned, I'm thinking food service, you upped it from 20 to 35. How many people knew that?
right,
You know what I mean? The average person that may be in that business might, but how
Right.
somebody else might not know.
Yeah,
So just, it is tough, but I just didn't know if there was a more simple avenue
yeah,
to do
the
that.
House calendar would be the best place
Yeah.
to find the information.
Yeah, it was, you noted that, people hear all the time, we can go to Superior Court, and $280 opposed to
Yeah.
being able to file a complaint for $25.
Right.
That's significant to a lot of people. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I would suggest that, refer them to the general court website. They just redid it. last year, and it's a lot more user-friendly.
Okay.
It's easier to find stuff. Familiar, search query
And usually how
format.
much notice would you, if there's something that could be detrimental to the community, how much notice, they always tell you to talk to your reps and talk to your senators, and is there ample time to do that without rushing? Do you know?
With the amount of legislation, we can read I get inundated with emails.
Yep. Me too.
But, yeah, I'm sure. But, I usually look for emails specifically coming from Weare. I'll
Yeah.
usually type it in every time I check it.
Sure.
So we know the House calendar 2 weeks ahead of time, so we know what bills are gonna come up over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If there's a bill that's in a different committee that, someone wants me to be at, and.
let you know?
Yeah,
Okay.
just say, hey, can you pop in
Okay.
and see what's going on with this bill?
Okay.
And I'll
I just
do
was trying for the
everything I
general
can.
public, because you ran through a lot of them that sounded familiar, not number-wise, but more topic-wise. But, for the average person, it's tough.
Yeah, the New Hampshire Municipal Association was actually, one of my main resources for putting this list together.
Yep.
And that's pretty much pick a topic and then find the nonprofit that kind of monitors that. And
Yeah,
you
no,
can find a
they
more-
constantly monitor it and send it out to all of us anyway, good or bad. There's some things that were near, that could have been detrimental to us, but we're not gonna debate those.
Something that's near and dear to a lot of people right now, especially the more fixed income, is the rate increases for electricity, and also heating oil is going up substantially, as are other. Is there any additional state aid coming forward that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of, as far as state aid goes. But we've insulated ourselves as much as we can from the inflation, with a lot of the regulations that we cut in the energy sector. We took out some lines in everybody's bills in the last 2 years. But if we just continue on that path, and, I'm sure they'll try to send out some one-time, funding, but I don't know if there will be any federal funds either coming in.
Okay.
But as of right now, the legislature's not in session, and we won't be until January, or they won't be.
Okay. I have no other questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having
No,
me.
thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is library department head.
Clay, you want me to start?
Yeah, sure. Actually, there are two issues. There's the lawn and then the chimney issue as well. So here I have some handouts regarding the chimney. I could bring up some pictures regarding the landscaping. I don't know, was it plug in here?
We had issues with that one, I think,
Yeah,
last time.
Well, we'll see how it goes. If you want a reference, I can show you pictures of our current state of our landscaping.
You can try it. It's the
Okay,
white
yeah.
cord right there. Do you have HDMI?
Yes.
Because I think, no, I think that's the USB one.
Well, it's got both, it looks like.
Yeah, just pull it, okay.
I don't want to break anything.
No, just be careful, because you'll have to fix it. And buy it.
Oh,
A little more.
can't just take it on my
right,
paycheck or
careful.
something.
Right, behind you should be a remote. Is there a remote? A white?
Right there on the shelf.
Yeah.
Give it 1 second.
Okay. So you want to talk about landscaping first? I guess I'm mostly just here for I'm here for some clarification, because a month ago, we talked about the state of, that things were looking bad. We mentioned several times in the conversation that, yeah, let's do the trimming. We need to trim back the hedges. We need to cut out all the underbrush. It's something that needs to be done, but nothing's been done since then. It's kind of like, I think of it as like there's like maybe 4 levels. There's like the mowing, that's being taken care of. But then the second level, the trimming, the weeding, that hasn't been done. We also discussed about having the highway department come in and pull out the shrubs. I think that's would be a good thing as well, especially since we have some trees, and I guess it's not coming up.
No, it's not gonna work. We tried that the other day.
Okay, well, I mean, you can just take my word for it, I guess, if you don't know. Oh, here we go. See, it's saying off, off, off. So I don't know. Anyway, I could just show, I could show you here, see, just click at all this. Look at all these leaves, all this greenery. It just looks horrible, terrible. It's encroaching upon our, like we have trees that are growing and the roots are right next to the foundation. And see this, like right here, these bushes right here, this rose bush, it's just, I don't know, it's really just not good. And so anyway, so like the highway department, they can come and take out all these trees that are growing up with the roots and everything like that. And then there was also the discussion that, we need to do a rebedding, but that's going to wait till next year. So I'm just asking, like, can we at least get the second level, that is the trimming and the weeding, could we get that taken care of ASAP? Because, we're going to talk about the chimney issue as well. That needs to be cleared out before any of the chimney repairs can be done. So I'm just concerned because it's, it's just not, it's not good for the state of the building, and it looks terrible. And so do you need to vote to, like, do a vote to agree to pay for Stockhouse to come and do this extra level of work?
So I didn't get a estimate to weed, I got an estimate to trim.
Yeah.
Trimming bushes at the library, estimate date of 8/15. It says we'll trim and clean up the debris, 7 evergreen bushes in front of the building, 1, I don't know what PJM is, bush to the left of the front stairs, 1 bush overhanging the walkway by the basement door, and flush cut 2 maple saplings in the bush, 1 evergreen by the parking lot, and 1, I'm not a plant person, so 1 rosa something over hanging walkways. All material debris to be hauled off. Labor, fuel, and company costs is $825. Doesn't include weeding.
So weeding would be weed eating, like using the weed eater, or just pulling up the weeds, or?
I didn't ask him to, I just asked
Yeah.
him for trim.
Right, see, and it's kind of vague, because I've got an invoice from them from last year, and it was kind of vague. They just called it spring cleanup, fall cleanup. But at least that would be a step in the right direction, for what you're describing, that would be good, yes.
So, did you review what your concerns are to come up with that estimate, or is this something he's
No, I
come-
only sent him over, I
So-
talked to Peter and told him to go over and look what it needed to be trimmed.
Yeah.
Because he had conversations with Mike, and then Mike stopped it altogether before he passed away because he didn't have the money.
Right,
So that's when
Yeah.
everything got left, and Peter just mowed the lawns. So that's where he got left.
yeah. So,
Okay, just so to make sure that we don't spend money and you still feel like your need hasn't been met, I think you should at least take this estimate or a copy of this estimate, review it, email us to tell us whether or not it meets your current needs, of course, outside of what's going to happen in front of the chimney, which is this, that area is almost going to have to disappear. I did an earlier walk around your building, the library, And there's more vegetation around the building than should be there for a masonry building, and was planted far too close from the outset. So a considerable amount of it should just go away, like it used to be before we landscaped. We had a lawn that came to the edge of the building. But we've added all this glorious landscaping and how it's haunting us. Okay? So, in the short run, can you make sure will meet your needs?
Yeah, I mean, this looks good. Yeah, I mean, it looks good, so,
Well,
For
he's
now, I
pretty
mean,
specific.
yeah,
I
right.
mean, walk around the
So-
building and
Yeah.
identify, you showed us some pictures, that overgrown shrub that goes in
Right.
on the right of the entry there. I don't believe that's included in that, from that description.
it says 1 rosa vigorosa overhanging the walkways. I think that's what he was talking about. So it's like this thing right here.
The
I think
Vega
that's-
Rosa, the
That's the one out by the pole, the light pole.
Okay,
Yeah,
Something different.
that's a rose, it's a rose.
Yeah,
okay.
so, yeah, so let's go with this. I mean, let's go with this, and then, and if it's still not sufficient, then I can come back and ask that he
Yeah,
do
I
some
don't,
work, so.
I don't want you to have to come back.
Okay.
I want you
The
to,
issue is that if we go with this estimate for trimming, and it comes back that it's not sufficient, then we're gonna be spending
exactly.
more money.
Well,
So, should we just spend more money in the first place and get rid of the stuff?
Well, I think what they're referring to in that proposal, from my walk around this evening, I think I caught most of them except for the Latin version of a rose bush, are plants that you're not gonna wanna get rid of. There are some trees that are growing very close to the building that shouldn't be there.
Right.
There's some major growth, but he doesn't describe taking them out. He's got 2 small maples popping up that he wants to take, but Clay, I just want to make sure that, you have your pictures and you said they look horrible, and you obviously are passionate about the way the facility looks. So, but if that wasn't created with you, I'm
Yeah.
not comfortable saying, okay, this is going to meet Clay's needs. So it's not a tremendous amount of money, and it's something we could definitely consider. But just take a look at that and make sure that that's what you're asking us for tonight.
Yes, this is what I'm asking for tonight. However, there was also in the previous discussion we had, which was a month ago, that the highway crew was going to come in and pull up the roots and pull up, some of the shrubs. And, I mean, I would like that to happen as well, but I understand, highway crew, they can't, they might be preoccupied with other duties and everything, like that, so. That would be good too. So that's kind of like the third, I'm talking about like different layers, first layer, yes, let's mow the lawn. Second layer, let's take care of the underbrush, let's do the trimming. Then the third layer would be actually pulling up the roots of a lot of these shrubs. And then the fourth layer would be, or level would be like rebedding everything. And it was my understanding that the fourth level was going to be delayed until next year, but everything else could be done this year. And I just want to make sure that at least the second level is taken care of ASAP, because not only does it look bad, but it could be doing damage on the masonry, so,
But here again,
yeah.
we're gonna be spending money to trim bushes that the
That might
DPW is
eventually
gonna come
be
in and
pulled
rip
out.
out. So why
Yeah, but
are
I don't
we
know when
doing
that's
two
gonna
things to
happen,
the
though.
same bush?
Right, I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't know when the highway crew is going to go there and pull stuff out, so I'm just,
I can ask, they've got, Benji's gone, got 1 more week. He'll be back at the end of this week, he'll be back to work on Tuesday. But when he left, everybody had a list of things that they were supposed to do. And I'm sure he's gonna have to call DigSafe, because the minute we pull up a tree and uproot something,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
gonna be in trouble.
Yep.
So he'll have to call DigSafe for them to come out and mark it.
right,
So, I mean, I'm waiting for him to come back. I
right.
know it's been a month, but he was gone.
Yeah, and so I'm just like, okay, we're going to wait for, the highway crew to do it, and then that might take a while, and then after they do it, then if we need more trimming, that might take a while as well. I'm just like, I want some action tonight, like, could you at least vote to approve of this portion of it? And then if the highway crew, it comes and takes care of the heavier shrubs and the woody stems and everything, then.
So,
then-
just
yeah.
again, I must have missed the meeting with the highway crew coming to do that scope of work, because I
I
don't.
think we
remember.
worked that night.
Yeah, I brought it up.
Yeah.
I'm the one that brought that up,
It was
because
on the July
we did the
18th.
same thing at the Stone Building.
Okay.
Those shrubs were the same way, and they were,
So the shrubs that the highway department are going to address are not the same shrubs that are,
I don't know, really, to be honest with you.
well, that's what John is
because-
referring to.
Right, because, are we gonna go through and like label each shrub? Like, okay, this one keep, this one goes, that kind of thing, you
Yes.
know? And so
The
yeah,
answer to that question is yes, absolutely. yeah,
so we need to
we-
go in, okay, and because of that, but I'm.
What I can do
Yeah.
is I can peel some time out. Are you working tomorrow?
Yes,
I'll meet you there tomorrow, and I'll bring some tape, and we'll walk around the perimeter of the building, and we'll create a scope of work on what shrubs are going to go and what aren't. And if any of them are on that list, we're going to cross them off and ask for a revision of that estimate. Okay?
okay, all
What
right.
time would you like to meet?
I'm in 10 to 6, actually, I have a program, at 2:30, so before 10 to 2:30, can we meet?
Okay,
at
let's
that?
meet at 10:30.
Okay,
Okay, I'll
sounds
see you
good.
then.
Okay, Kevin, all right.
Yeah, you can take that list with you, because I have another
Okay.
one upstairs.
All right, so, and then after that, then, am
We'll
I going to have
create
to
it-
come
we'll-
back at the next
We'll create an
meeting?
entire scope of work,
Okay,
1, 2, 3, and 4,
all right.
okay?
Okay, am I going to have to come back at the next meeting to get this approved then 2 weeks from
No.
now? Okay, good, all right. Okay, so, thanks. Moving on, as far as the chimney repair, previously, we talked, you were leaning on going with Ryan Gagon. I've been on, sending him multiple emails after a while of not getting back with me. He eventually said that he has pulled himself out of consideration for the job. He was considerably less pricey. This is for the repairing the base of the chimney. He was considerably less pricey than the others, and so I'm assuming that maybe he realized, oh, you know, I'm not getting paid enough for this job. So now I went and got a third estimate, and as you see the estimates for repairing the base of the chimney, they're all pretty much the same. It's front and back, if you look at the first page, but I got 603 to come out, they're 5,000, Northland 4,600, and J&R Masonry 4,800. So if you're just going by price alone, we would go with Northland. However, you can see 603, if we decide we wanted to go ahead and do the repoint of the top portion of the chimney, they're considerably less. 603 also gave me an estimate for the crown and the cap of the chimney. It is their opinion that the crown is cracked and showing signs of wear and should be sealed. So, but I think mostly it's the base is what I'm mostly concerned about. So I just need to get an agreement for the funds for the base, and if you so choose to include the repointment and the crown and the cap, that, you know, I would be happy with that as well, so. And once again, I have pictures on my computer, but I don't know if you remember the chimney from our previous conversation, so.
Well, my concern, Clay, at $8,000, that's gonna take almost 25% of our government building fund remaining for this year. I would like to see this put off, the whole thing, until next year, to see if we can get more money into that government building fund. And that covers every town building we got, and I understand there's an issue there, don't get me wrong, but I'm personally not willing to spend 25% of our budget on one building, on one scope.
Okay, so could I, how about $4,600, $4,640? That would not be 25% of your budget. And I also think this is a very important matter that cannot wait, because if we keep waiting, it's going to only get worse, especially when the weather changes, so.
Clay,
Yes,
this is, and I almost have to apologize for all the time you spent pursuing this. We have a new twist. And the new twist is that we have taken a closer look, and we want to have an engineer look at it, because we cannot determine what caused it. And that cobbled brick that you see, the one that comes down, that ornamental brick that's creating almost like that wainscot around that building, there was enough pressure behind that to snap those brick. And so we have water infiltration coming from somewheres that is now eroded the structure. We have a veneer there that looks gorgeous, right? And then directly behind there is where the structure is. And that structure now is, I can pull the bricks out with my fingers. Putting a veneer back on that does not repair the damage that's been done. So we can talk about it tomorrow, about what's going to have to happen there, but there's a little bit more forensics before we make any investment in the chimney. We may actually have to do something that's probably not going to be very appealing to the, is we're going to have to mask that with something to prevent additional water going in this fall and into this winter. But I do not think you're going to see that repair done this fall.
Okay, Naomi, you had Romeo come and look at it, right? Didn't you?
Yeah,
Or you did,
that's-
Kevin?
That's what you're looking at.
That's
see,
that's the
okay.
report.
Right, okay.
And that's what we,
Have you seen that? His
No, I
letter?
haven't seen that,
No, we
no.
dropped it upstairs.
yeah, we have to kind of
That's the only one I
heed that.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Just so you can review it.
Yeah, and it's pretty generic. Again, just because of my expertise, I can walk you through what is happening there a little bit. But we definitely need someone else to take a look about how far back we have to go so that we're not doing this again in 2 years.
Okay,
Okay?
okay.
So
Sorry,
tomorrow,
I-
10:30, we'll address that, okay? And I do
Yeah.
apologize that we've started a new process, a new program,
Yeah.
which will be being introduced to all the department heads. We're sort of getting it so that you don't have to come back 3 times, hopefully.
Okay, well, it's part of my job, and I just work right over there, so it's not.
Yeah.
not-
It's
So
still-
that,
you know,
that letter
so-
from Romeo, though, is the only copy I have.
Oh, okay. So,
I can
yeah,
make a
if
copy
you could
for
just
you.
get a copy for me, just email.
You want to take it over if I make it?
Sure, I'll bring
I
that
can
with me,
scan it, send
I'll
it
bring
to you,
that
too.
with me tomorrow morning for you, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Clay.
Thank you for all your hard work with this, so.
Okay, thanks.
Point of order or question? Is this an opportunity for me to ask a question that's just presented?
No?
So when would that be?
You can, on the public comment, which was already been made, but we don't have to answer during public comment.
Didn't know that was being presented, so.
What's that?
You asking him, you wanna ask him a question?
Well, sure. I was actually at the original meeting talking about the landscaping and the people that were actually being presented. Are there 3 bids being presented on the bids to remove the brush and to do the trimming?
No, they're not.
So
Just,
isn't
we're
that
just
a
going
rule
with,
that's supposed to be 3 bids for every job that's at the town?
I don't know, we've been going with Stockhouse for, they've been mowing our lawn. It's not like we got 3 bids for people to mow our lawn, so,
In the contract, he also has the first option of extra work.
okay,
Additional, it would be a cost.
okay.
I mean, I know the scope of what that work is. That's a lot to ask for that. But just saying. So I just think that we're just throwing money out, and we're not even giving the opportunity for other people to come in and do it for half the price. If we can save the town money, why not do that?
Well, right now, we aren't doing anything at the moment, so, until they meet tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, that brings us to manifest.
Chief's here.
I don't know if you've got other department heads.
Yeah, there's the department heads.
Who are the, chief? Sorry.
So I was gonna hit old business, but since we were just talking about that, I got a bill recently, just to advise you, I got a bill recently from a vendor where they were adding and this is an in-town vendor, $55 for a fuel surcharge. So I promptly called them, they did end up, taking it off. However, I was talking to Naomi, what we're gonna do, we're gonna take the lead on this, is just kind of put out, service agreements, try to get plumber, electrician, handyman, stuff like that, that can do all town work. They'll agree to an hourly rate, we're gonna go with the lowest hourly rate, and then, identify any surcharges, because literally about 5 miles for $55, 3 times, $55 each time. I told them they were gonna be the poster child on my, budget presentation if they continued, so they withdrew. Realize where you eat. So, just throwing that one out there and just kinda giving you a broad base of where we're going with that. Old business, about a month ago, I brought up the range, comments, questions, concerns on your end. We would, if it's approved, we need about 60 days to order the signs, the flags, stuff like that, get it operational, because we do have to fall shoot before snow starts falling.
What's the board's pleasure?
So is Benji weighed in on this?
Yes, I spoke with Benji. He actually made a good suggestion on where to put a flag on the entrance.
Okay.
And we'd have a sign there which would alert the public. Of course, you saw our notification procedures to alert the public. Preferably, we would do it on days DPW is closed. So we could close the gate behind us, be back there on our own anyway. But yes, Benji was offering to do a whole lot more than what we needed. It's pretty much set up as we need it. He was gonna put a little more dirt on the left side, back left side, because we only need 20 feet on that side. We don't need that whole area.
Yep.
And he was more than willing to help out and just, he wanted to knock down, no, we don't need trees knocked down and stuff like that. Just, if you can push a little bit more dirt up, we're good. Keep it simple.
And this, just to confirm, this is not open to the public, this is for
Correct.
PD use only?
Correct.
And this is in the far eastern corner of the,
So it would be in the northeast corner. Yes, sir.
okay.
As you drive down the road past the sand pile.
You've talked about not making decisions without Benji being here. I know he's not
Well,
here.
let's make a that's what, if we move on this, it has to be conditional. We can deal with it through an
I'm just
email.
saying-
Yeah, I agree, John. I didn't understand that. It was,
No, I don't have a problem with it, but we've got into situations where we said we wouldn't make decisions with him. I'm not distrusting the chief, it's just you've made that
Understood.
very clear that you weren't gonna make any decisions without him being here. Therefore, you can make it contingent, it's your choice.
yeah,
We
are
can
you,
table
are
until.
you okay for a week?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No
I
big
don't-
rush. We're just trying to beat the snow and we
Yeah,
still got a while.
I don't think it needs.
When are you planning on doing your fall shoot?
We usually do it November-ish,
And
if
how
I'm
long
not mistaken. We wait till daylight savings, time hits. That way we can get the range earlier,
So-
and get done earlier.
From the time that it gets approved, if it gets approved by the board, how long will it take for the range to go live for you folks? Do you guys have a
I'm
timeline?
anticipating about 60 days, just because I gotta order specific signage. We wanna put police, firearms range, no trespassing, all sides back there. Plus, we wanna put a sign identifying what that flag actually is for. If
Okay.
the red flag is risen, means the police pistol range is active.
So if we
gonna
approve
make-
this at the first meeting in September,
That gives you
that
November
would
1.
give you
Yeah.
time enough.
We'll make it
because
work.
November 6th is daylight saving time.
It puts it close, though.
It cuts it close.
We'll make it work.
So can we table this to the next meeting, put it on the agenda and ask, and invite
Well, that's next
Benji?
meeting in 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Was the holiday.
We,
We'll meet
I
the
mean,
next
we
two.
may meet in between.
Okay,
Yeah, we
We've
meet in
always said
between.
that.
Which we
We're
probably
gonna have
will
other
be.
things we're gonna have to talk about anyway.
okay.
We heard about the
There
opening
hasn't been
position.
any opposition, chief, so.
No, that's
no,
fine.
Okay.
That's all good. I understand.
So we'll table to the next meeting.
Yep. And invite the DPW director. Perfect.
And this one is unknown if this is a board item or not. It might just fall under my purview with the CBA. You're aware that we just had the incident on Mountain Road. One thing I was gonna propose as an adjustment on the CBA, under Article 2.2D, I'm gonna retitle the executive officer Lieutenant Hebert, from lieutenant to captain. And there's a reason for that. The action provides outside law enforcement agencies with easier recognition of authority and level of accountability entrusted to him, being in the Weare Police Department. When we had that scene on Mountain Road, we had state police there, we had Dunbarton on the way, we had New Boston, we had Goffstown. So obviously, people recognize what's on the shoulder, on the collar. So it says in here too, this retitling is not a promotion and no monetary incentive is included in this adoption. All I'm doing is change this badge title. I don't have to change the uniforms because we wear generic badges. I just have to buy them 2 new metal badges. That's the only thing. If you're good leaving that to me, I'll make it happen. Or I don't know, since it is a CBA item, all it is changing his title from lieutenant to captain in the CBA, wherever it's mentioned, because it is specific. It doesn't go by executive officer.
And also
I-
adopting captain as a lieutenant as well.
What?
Under union members, it would go from the lieutenant to also recognizing the captain as a union member.
Yeah, it's just anywhere it says lieutenant,
Yeah,
it
I
just
think
now
that-
says
That
captain.
should be with the negotiations come up on the CBA. That's my personal opinion.
Which we're gonna be starting shortly anyway.
Yeah.
I just gotta get.
Yeah,
some-
we just don't know when more incidents are coming, and I wasn't gonna push it, but since we just had an incident, it's kind of relevant to what we do.
I'm knock on wood, next
Recognition.
one's gonna be a long time from now.
Say that again?
Knock on wood, hopefully it's gonna be a while
Oh, I
from now.
hope too, but, you know, I'll tell you this, we thought that was gonna be a very routine situation, and he did a phenomenal job out there. He really did. Good proactive measures which resolved that very peacefully. Well, I guess not so peacefully, but without anybody getting hurt. But yeah, I mean, we can table it.
Yeah, I agree,
Yeah.
with Vice Chairman Osborne. I think that's something that we can discuss during the CBA negotiation.
Okay. Now we're on to radio infrastructure. Actually, I will bring this up. So I brought this where the board voted on it last time. It was the 722847 for the 5 voter sites. I had an earlier version. It's 6 voter sites. The actual total is 849416. So I have the updated version now. Beth didn't process this one because she knew it was the wrong one. But I didn't realize it until like a week later. Do you need to re-vote on this? And so, like I said, same thing we talked about last time. Instead of 5 voter sites, 6 voter sites.
Yeah, the one that was signed was the other one, right?
Yeah, it was an earlier version. That is the correct.
Trying to remember if I made a motion, not for an exact dollar amount, but for a.
Nope, you did the exact dollar
I
amount,
did.
that's why she pulled it up.
Okay, just want to make sure.
And you
All
put the proposal number and everything.
right. Okay.
I'm trying to think if that was,
So I would guess we're gonna need another motion to go from 5 to 6.
To amend my previous, or create a new one.
What was the financial, what was the bottom line?
It's an increase of, it should be, what's that, 782847?
84,900.
I'm sorry, yeah.
84,994.16.
So what was approved before was 722847.
About
600.
$1,200.
Yep. Which is about right, what they said, what the additional card was gonna be from the initial conversation I had.
This is your value.
Yep. Make a motion that we rescind my previous approval for
$228.47.
for two-way, and go with the new update, the correct proposal, proposal 47978, for $8,494.16 for 6 voter site modules for the police department radio system.
And the money comes out of,
Money comes out of the ARPA fund.
is that where it comes
No,
from?
the
or
encumbered.
No, it's 30,000
you
encumbered.
did the encumbered.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's right, 30,000 encumbered
Encumbered.
under 2021
One.
funds. Sorry, you're right.
Yeah. Is there a second?
The second.
Okay.
Been moved and seconded to accept this updated proposal from Two-Way. All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Abstentions?
Now you gotta make a motion for the vice chair to sign it, so Beth can pay
Make
the
a
bill.
motion, the vice chairman sign the proposal for two-way?
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Yes.
You knew over you, I got this.
Thank you.
Now, before we go much further on this radio stuff, I don't want to, I know there's a letter of intent somewhere that we need to sign. Other than that, I don't want to bring up anything tonight, discuss anything until the rest of the board's here. Which will,
Can I speak on behalf of the union? on that matter? Because this is a public safety.
I understand it's public safety, but I don't wanna do it until a full board is here.
When there are gunshots and our guys cannot get out.
I'm sorry. That's my personal, if the board wants you to speak, they can, but that's my personal opinion. Board feeling?
I think, given the fact that Chairman Hippler and I are arguably more versed in this than some of the other board members, I'd feel a lot more comfortable if he was here for any of this discussion. The radio discussion specifically.
This information has been pushed out already, and is unsettling for the union that we are not even given an opportunity to present information tonight, and the next board meeting is another 30 days away. And this has to do with life and safety. This was brought up in 2014, it is now 2022, and we're in the same situation when gunshots are happening, and we have a sergeant calling dispatch asking what's going on, trying to come in, and dispatch says, I don't know, because they cannot hear us.
Which happened on Mountain Road. We did not have radio or phone communication.
Naomi,
Zero.
Naomi, could we have a meeting maybe next week to discuss this?
Of course, I mean, that's not Naomi's call, that would be our call. So, my only question, as I stated to you as we were walking in, I didn't see this on the agenda. Was that, is this being
So-
presented as a union issue?
No, I emailed Naomi, we were gonna be talking about this. Pull up the email.
Okay,
Had a couple items that I would be discussing
Yeah,
tonight.
and when Rick and I set the agenda,
okay.
he asked me to move it under my, so I guess the miss.
Technically, it was noted.
Technically, I mean, I didn't know he was coming, but the email,
Okay, okay.
So let's
So we
set
had-
let's try for a meeting next week to discuss this on the.
Respectfully, Brandon, I know that this issue's been going on an awful long time, but we've made leaps and bounds of improvements and the proper steps. I understand the frustrations. I can't say I understand the implications exactly that you were put in, and I'm sorry you were in that situation. But I don't feel comfortable moving forward with this discussion without Selectman Hippler here. This, because of the dollar value of this, really should be a full board present for this, and we will make every reasonable effort to make sure we have a full board available and we can meet next week.
So,
Just to make sure you do understand ramifications of this, the two-way, Mr. Bartlett said he might be able to get Motorola to extend their quote, which expired yesterday. If we wait, the cost may
But-
go up again.
As I understand it, there is two companies out there that can provide this equipment.
Motorola sole source.
Oh, that's not what I was told by Vice Chairman Hippler. So.
So you would
we'll
start
meet
back
next-
from
we'll meet
ground
next week.
zero?
We'll have a meeting next week.
Okay.
hang on,
didn't you get this?
yeah, hang on 1 second. Just, yeah, no, take a deep breath, okay? So, let's pick a couple of dates that work for you guys for next week. Can we do that? I mean, are you available every evening? Is there one day that
This is
you're,
priority, whatever the soonest date, we will be here.
okay, well, that makes it very easy for us. Okay, we will notify you by Wednesday, what day we're meeting next week,
Okay,
okay?
sounds good.
Okay,
We can't do Thursday. Thursday, there's someone in here,
okay.
so you can't do Thursday.
I'd
So
say it's probably
Tuesday or
either
Wednesday.
Tuesday or Wednesday.
Oh, letter of intent, that's the only other thing. I
Yeah,
got.
right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you want to do Tuesday?
Yeah, that's. that
Tentatively?
works.
Okay, and then we have Wednesday to back up if there's a conflict. Is everybody okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Tuesday, the 23rd.
6:30? We should do 6:30 for Ricky anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, don't sign that. Kevin, don't sign that, we haven't made a motion yet.
You don't
I'm
have
sorry.
to, there's 5 minutes. Do you have to? There's 5 spots, I made 5
Oh,
spots.
maybe not.
So you don't have to make a motion, just sign it and send it
Okay.
down the line.
This is the letter of intent for,
The
to
towers.
start the communications with
Yeah.
Pyramid.
Towers.
The
Pyramid.
Pyramid,
To let Pyramid know if they give us a proposal to get on the towers and there's no reoccurring costs.
And just to confirm, this is a non-binding
Right,
letter that we're
correct.
sending.
It says right on there.
Can I speak on the letter of intent and co-application for the two sites with Pyramid Network Services? So with that being said, it's a dual thing, right? We need a letter of intent based on what Bill Bartlett says he believes the best course of action would be a letter of intent to show that the town is actually serious on, hey, this is what we're trying to do. Generally, there's an application fee. We don't know. Historically, he has seen cell phone, or the tower owners waive the application process to allow for communications to figure out what it's gonna look like, if it is feasible and everything else. There's no guarantee. So we need to, before, or even with a letter of intent, we also need to submit the co-location application to Pyramid Network Services. That will show them the drawings, the equipment that we're planning on putting on the tower and everything else. We're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place in the sense that we need to submit an application to get any communication on, is it possible, what are the fees, what does it look like? If we don't submit an application, we don't get the information.
Okay?
So I would ask that we also get authorization tonight at a minimum to send in the application and see if there is a bill. I know Bill Bartlett put it in his initial quote for the number, the 680,000 that was built into that. I would also suggest that you guys allocated $30,000 from last year-end money. I don't think we're gonna touch $30,000 for the Band-Aid project. And I would strongly suggest not using all $30,000 for a Band-Aid project, because I think we are on the right course for the Band-Aid, getting the voter,
The comparators.
the comparators up and running for the voter sites and all that. Why waste money if it's not, use that money for something that will help us in the long run. If there is an application fee, I would strongly suggest that the board use that year-end money that was already allocated for the Band-Aid project to allow us to move in a forward direction to figure it out. Hopefully, best case scenario, they don't charge us an application fee with a letter of intent, and we can get lines of communication to see if there is a leasing fee. As we found out from American Tower Corporation, they're not, by the looks of it, they're not charging us a leasing fee for the ground or the tower itself. So there's zero reoccurring fees for that one site. Now we have,
What is this application fee? Do we know what that's gonna be
it could be a
yet?
couple $1,000s.
We don't know what
Per
it is.
se.
I think
per
the
se.
last time the fire department looked at it was about $5,000, wasn't it? Yeah. When the fire department looked at
Yeah.
relocating on there, it was about, I think the email was $5,200.
Now, is that per tower or just for the application for both locations that Pyramid has?
I think it was per
We
tower.
don't have total numbers.
Okay,
I mean, my suggestion is we submit it and then they at least have it and we can at least start the process. If there's no application fee and they're gonna waive it with a letter of intent, we can move on and try to get some progress here in the next week.
now this application you're talking about is not this, it's a separate
That's
document.
another form.
No,
that
it's
I
two
passed
of
out.
the printouts. It's the two.
The front two, or front 6 pages, I believe it is. The only thing that we added on there is the tenant and the applicant.
Mr. Bartlett filled out the rest. So that's all, I got all the correct information.
Can we table this part, and I haven't seen this yet, can we table this part until our meeting next Tuesday? And just go with the letter of
I
intent?
think what he's saying is gotta go hand in hand.
Oh, they go hand in hand.
Yeah, we'll just
Okay.
sign this tonight, and we'll just table that until next Tuesday.
I don't
Well,
understand the purpose
they're
of
hand in
signing.
hand, they go together.
Yeah.
If you don't do both, they're not gonna
That's
do
what I mean.
anything.
So why
So we'll
would
just
we
hang,
involve
we'll just
them?
hang on to this one, and then we'll discuss that next week.
You need Ricky's signature anyway on that to get out the door.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Well, I mean, again, take a deep breath, because is there any other way around it?
This has been provided a week ago to the board, or to Naomi,
Okay?
for the purpose of talking, because this is what is holding us back from, we just saved the town potentially $260,000 by thinking outside the box, checking different avenues to try to find out the needs of the police department for our safety, the needs of the community, and fiscal responsibility.
Right.
Every day that we wait, we're spending more and more money, because that quote for the equipment expired yesterday.
I
When we're
understand.
talking about $290,000,
Yeah.
an increase is an increase.
And just a clarification though, until we know what those recurring fees are going to be, you were talking about this, the hard costs up front. There's a savings. But if those recurring fees are,
Right, yeah,
They-
two options.
they could eat
Right.
that up real quick on us. So we still have that's really, again, how these radios work, that's way out of my skill set. But depending on what these recurring charges are, that is really what's gonna make this decision at the end of the day.
Oh, I don't disagree with you one bit, but
The
for
only way
us
to
to
find
figure
that
out those
is-
fees, we
Yeah,
need
yeah, I
to
got it. I
letter
got
of
it.
intent.
I got it. I got it.
And also, I think you guys were all sent the email yesterday afternoon with everything attached.
Yesterday morning about 11 a.m.
Not me.
I got it yesterday, Sunday,
Yeah, I got it
14th
Sunday,
at
Sunday evening.
2:22.
Yep.
You sent all of that stuff
Sunday
in a
evening?
package, all of that.
Sunday evening?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know where you guys' emails stuff.
I don't know what's up with this email.
We can resend.
There's been a recurring problem with it for some reason, especially when
It
it,
goes through if you use board members, but when you individually type it, it doesn't. Sometimes I don't even know why.
I haven't
I
seen
went to the
it. I haven't
website and
seen
typed
any
them
of
in.
that stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, if you go board members at, it goes to all of them at once.
I don't think that's on the website, is it?
yeah,
Yeah.
Is it?
yeah.
Well, no, their individual ones is on there as well.
Yeah, if you, just for future reference, if you just do board members, we all get it.
Where do that?
It's not in my, it's not in my spam folder either. I don't know where it goes. Someone
It
else is
doesn't make
reading
sense,
it.
but it seems to be the only I can lead to, when it's individually typed.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think I saw it either. And I looked down through all my email this morning.
no,
I
it's
I
just,
did see it, Brandon didn't send it out yesterday, that was
I'll
yesterday.
look when I get
yes,
home
sir.
tonight, but.
well,
Brent, while we're talking about this, there's something else that you and I
Hard copy of
spoke
that to
about
go
earlier
over between
today
now and next Tuesday.
regarding emergency
RFP?
management.
Oh, yep.
Can you talk briefly about that, please? to the
So-
board?
but I can make a copy.
I've got the notes.
Brandon, can you give two more copies of what you gave them, and give Naomi one more for
Has 'em.
Ricky,
Yeah,
so we can at least look at it?
You're talking about to be eligible for grants, right?
Yeah, Brandon mentioned, when I spoke to him earlier today, that there was a lapse in an update on the document.
So we met with the FEMA
Thank you.
coordinator. I don't recall her name off the top of my head, but to be eligible for grants, there's two things that we as a town have to accomplish. It's typically accomplished under our emergency operations director.
I printed mine.
Every 5 years, the
Hey,
local
Brandon.
emergency operation plan has to be updated. and
Let
the
us-
hazard
let us
mitigation
check to
plan
see
has to be updated. Hazard mitigation plan was updated in 2018, but the
we can move
local
this
emergency operation plan hasn't been updated since 2007, so we're seriously out of compliance. And we can't put in for any.
What was that document, the 2007?
Local emergency operation plan, she also
You want
explained, we are eligible for a grant to get that updated, up to $4,500, 50/50 match she would have, if we wanted to, she would have looked at several vendors to give us, that would help us facilitate getting that up to date. If we were looking at that. And once we get that plan up to date, we would be eligible, and generators for the towers would be eligible under that grant.
No, that's not gonna cross over with what we already did, right? We've already gave the fire department the green light to go do something for generators.
That was under Chief Vizina. Chief Roberts, are you?
Richards.
I'm
Richards.
sorry, Richards. Are you following up on that at all?
There's a sticky note hanging on the calendar with a person's name on it, and it says generators,
Okay,
not much as I know about it.
okay.
Okay.
So it's pretty much starting over anyway, sounds like.
Okay, I'm just saying I don't wanna be applying for something and looking foolish because we applied twice,
Already,
that's
yeah.
all.
Mhm.
Because I know he had a letter of intent and it went somewhere. Because you guys okayed him that night
Yeah,
to
we
do
did.
that.
Right. signed it.
Yep, for
Yeah.
one generator, I believe.
No, I think we talked about more than one, but I can find you that letter.
I think on the stickies, there's two different
Yeah.
wattages
Okay,
Yeah,
generators.
and it was actually for the, at the time, it was for the tower, one at East Weare and one at South Weare, but I think that is kind of off the table at the moment. Because the game plan is to go with the cell towers if they can first.
Yeah, which would
And that's
potentially
plan A.
mean we would need a third generator then at that point, so.
I just don't want to be applying for something and saying, doesn't anybody know what's going on, you know?
All right.
That's the only thing I had.
If we can, give us till next week to review all this, and then we'll meet again Tuesday evening?
Tuesday,
Tentatively?
6:30.
And I take it out and get a copy of that?
You've asked for 3 copies.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry, John.
he gave,
Here, John, here, take this. I must have grabbed yours.
you grabbed this.
Yeah. Sorry, John.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Keep this together.
Okay.
Do you have the manifest?
Yeah, I do. Bob, you got anything?
Oh.
Nope.
Actually, while he's here, I do. So last, can I interrupt for a second? Last time, when Bob was here before, we had a appointment for a deputy forest fire warden. And he has now signed it, so now you guys can sign it. It's for Mark Rorick. And when I asked Ricky to sign it, he had to wait for Bob to sign it.
You can sign it.
So then you can take that with you?
One needs two signatures.
Okay. It only needs 3 of you. Because we don't have a mayor.
We don't?
No.
Did they know the real date that we're going to Concord? Because that was confusing last time when I left here, so it's nothing,
Do you know the real
I
date?
knew the real date.
All right, well, let's have it,
It's
because
the
it was
27th
2027.
It was the 27th of September, we're going to Concord. So,
I watched the Board of Fire Wards meeting just the last one you had, and I guess there was a comment there was a concern that you made that Chief Gilbert had made regarding the tones. Are you guys gonna have to reprogram all your tones?
yeah, we're gonna have to reprogram everything anyway.
Okay.
There was, the problem is when they push our tones,
This is pretty helpful.
and they were opening another town's pagers.
Yep.
And at certain times, it would open Concord Concord Fire Station, Central Fire Station's
Because
radio.
tones are so similar.
So they're all like, oh, you know, we like Weare, but, you know, we don't want to hear them in the middle of the night when we don't have to go out. So, I worked with R&R, we gave them 10 pairs of tones, and they're gonna work on figuring out which one doesn't affect Concord or capital area. So that's all been taken care of.
Okay, good.
I think other than that,
All set?
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Bob.
Bye.
No problem.
Now we can do the manifest?
Yep.
Order the treasurer to sign the payroll and accounts payable checks dated August 18th, 2022, as included in the following manifest. Payroll manifest of $72,230.39. Accounts payable manifest of $107,029.21. Supplemental accounts payable manifest of $15,230.37. John Stark School manifest of $800,000. Weare School District manifest of $1,250,000 for a total of $2,244,489.97. The following manifests were previously ordered to sign at the August 1st, 2022 Board of Selectmen meetings. Payroll manifest of $72,635.24. Checks dated 8/11. Accounts payable manifest of $46,846.20. Checks dated 8/11. If there are no selectmen's meetings scheduled for Monday, August 22nd, August 29th, and September 5th, and September 12th, to order the treasurer to sign payroll checks dated August 25th, September 1st, September 8th, and September 15th, estimated to be about $320,000. Furthermore, to order the treasurer to sign up to the amount of $360,000 for accounts payables that cannot wait until the next scheduled meeting. Reports and actual check amounts will be reported to the Board of Selectmen by inclusion on the manifest memo at the next scheduled meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the manifest. All those in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Abstentions? Pass that to Naomi. Yeah. Minutes.
You have two sets on the 27th, because you guys did a site walk,
Yes.
and then you guys came back here.
Let's do a site walk first. Anybody got any errors or omissions on the site walk? I'll make a motion to accept the site walk minutes, July 27th. Is there a second?
Second.
Then moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Abstain, which I understand, okay. And somewhere in here, there's another meeting. Yeah, this is gonna take me a while to figure out where that one is.
What was the two-way discussion?
Found it, I found it.
Yep.
One that had no audio?
July
First night streaming?
27th, 22, page 1. Page 2. Page 3.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes of July 27th, 2022, meeting in the building as written.
Is there a second?
Second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve meeting minutes of July 27th. All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Abstentions? I know what's in here. You got them, John.
I do. 7 pages.
Oh.
Jeez, what are you doing here?
You want the first, John?
Oh, never mind, I got them right here, John. That's even better. All right, August 1st, page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. And page 7.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes of August 1st, 2022 as written.
I'll second. Then moving and seconded to accept minutes of August 1st. All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Abstention? Thank you. Administrators report.
Yep, gonna take a minute and take one of those and pass it down, please. As well as, oh, it's mine. So, before I start on the report, Kevin mentioned earlier that we've been working on a building improvement maintenance procedure and repair guideline for things that come into us, as Clay had done. And basically, it's kind of follows our purchasing policy, which I think you all have a copy of. And in that purchasing policy, anything that estimates over $5,001 has to be put out to bid. Request to bid must be advertised in 2 locations. A minimum of 3 bids is preferred. So the department head will create a scope of work, and a third party may consult, a consultant may be required in some cases. The scope of work must detail the size and scope of project and what materials to be used. There's an example here about repairs and upgrades to the bathrooms at the town hall. All existing, I'll read it, plumbing and electrical to be inspected and repaired as necessary. Talks about some suggested materials. And then, it really detailed what we were looking for doing. And then the second one is to third, is schedule a building inspector to review the scope and make changes if necessary to ensure that the work meets all building codes. And 4, a schedule should be attached to the scope of work outlining a projected start date and completion date. All contracts should note the schedule and the scope of work. Bid documents must include the town Weare insurance requirements. No bids will be considered without proof of insurances. Billing and payment terms will be outlined in the bid documents. Some contracts will require a retainage clause. I think we talked about that before, about 5%, what we held on, I think, for the garage for a while. Department heads should schedule a contractor's site walk to review the scope and address any questions prior to the bid date. All bids to be reviewed by the appropriate board prior to entering into a contractual agreement. And 9, all other provisions of the town purchasing policy must be adhered to. Town purchasing policy, I believe, and I think it is online. If not, I'll put it online, but that's kind of where we were going instead of talking to Clay, send him away, talk him to Clay, send him away, talk him to Clay. Same thing, Romeo went out and looked at it afterwards, and now it's kind of tailspin into something different. So, in talking with Kevin, we thought this would be the best way of making it upfront, clear and simple for anybody that's got a project.
So basically, the only thing I suggested to Naomi is that we had check boxes, check the 9 boxes, and we're good to go, essentially. And clarification, John, that scope for the town hall bathrooms is just an example of what that scope might look like. And we hurried this along based on your recommendation so that we can get that up and, try to get that up and done prior to October.
Board members got any comments? John's studying it.
Came as a result of the last letter that we got, urging, some certain dates in October.
Yep.
They wanted to use the town hall, so
Yeah.
just so we follow the same path, for everybody, this is,
Yeah.
we can add a box in front of each number.
Yeah, we've got a few projects right now that are out there that aren't gonna get past us unless the 9 boxes get checked. The only thing it doesn't talk about in here is, and again, just kind of coming back to me, is it, we don't make mention of vendors. Some of the projects are materials only. Right?
Some are labor and materials, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, DPW sometimes will be buying the materials to do the repair, but doing the work themselves. But they still would have to fall under some of this. So adding vendors someplace in that, a minimum of 3 bidders is preferred, or it should be bidders and vendors, maybe.
I think I'd rather the language on that minimum of 3 quotes or estimates. Either quotes or estimates, either one. Bidders, I don't know, to me that doesn't sound right.
So if you
But I'm
look
just
at,
picking nits, really.
so you're looking at something that's a bigger project. If you look at your, on page 3, you talk about authorized purchases
Page 3, oh, the purchasing
of the
policy?
purchasing
I don't have
policy.
that
It
in front
talks
of me.
about purchases up to $2,500.
Okay,
Talks about the department has full authority to make departmental purchases of goods and service up to 25, which are identified in and do not exceed the department's adopted budget. So that's the department line.
okay.
Then you have the second step, which is 2501 to 5,000. Says the town administrator must approve departmental purchases of goods and service up to 5,000 for those items which are identified in and do not exceed the adopted line again. But it says that they have to contact as many vendors as possible in order to obtain at least 3 written quotes.
Okay.
And then the 5,001 goes to a more formal process.
Okay.
So, I mean,
You had in lines with that.
so the 5,001's meant for bigger projects. Not to say that the others aren't important, I'm just saying that the 2501 to 5,000 is where you'll see them come in to you guys with 3 or 4 different quotes, or they've made several attempts and only have 2. But anything over 5,001 was thinking of a bigger project would go to a formal bid process, which is typically where a lot of this comes into place.
RFPs and,
Yes.
okay.
But the materials alone, if we go, the work we're considering doing down at DPW will put us over that threshold, I'm sure. So it'll fall into this.
And I think collectively, if you look at, for instance, at the town hall, if you're gonna replace the toilets, because that's been mentioned, to the newer style that are insulated and don't sweat, because that's how the floor rotted. I think a lot of those, by the time you add a laborer, materials, electrician, a plumber, whatever, I don't know what you need an electrician, but, you know, you could be
Yeah, it's not
bordering
hard.
on that too.
It's not hard to get to $5,000 these days.
Yeah, it doesn't take much anymore.
No,
All set?
is that something you wanna move forward with, or what are you guys thinking?
Now Kevin's idea of adding in additional wording for material only. Did I understand you correctly?
Yeah, vendors.
So let's see where we put that in, and let's look at it again next week.
Okay?
I can bring it back when we meet on Tuesday.
Sure,
Yeah. And then that'll get us kicked off on town hall.
yeah.
Yeah. We could talk about it after the radios.
Exactly.
Excuse me. There's not, the rental ordinance, we talked about picking another meeting. I think we're just gonna have to pick a meeting here. We're gonna run into all the school activities, school's going back into session. The after-school program is gonna be in full force. So I think, want me to schedule something, or what do you guys? We've had one hearing, we said we'd have a second. I can ask town council for her availability, because that was the whole idea of having her here to answer the hard questions that nobody could answer, if those came.
I think we ought to set something, try to set something up.
Let's
See what-
see
what
what
the-
our availability is in September. Let's try to move on with this before our budget season starts, and we're not gonna have time to meet.
Alright. I'll pick something with her in September, and then, but in time to advertise, like we
Yes.
did in our means of advertising. Okay, we had the Weare reps, thank you, Leah. The cemeteries, I'd like to, I've actually been led to a couple of different interesting places, New Hampshire Cemetery Association, and some other places to get some RFPs. So the one in Amherst, I don't know if I said this the last time to you guys, but the one
Yeah.
in Amherst was, they have a new cemetery, brand new. It's very easy for someone to lay out. But what they were looking for the bid now was a cloud-based system that they could sell the lots with. The lots have already been out, but their lots are a brand new, just like a floor, and you just make the square. So that wasn't really an apples to apples of what I was looking for. But there's a gentleman through the New Hampshire Cemetery Association, I believe in Concord, that I was given their name. And he could help us kind of curtail what he's familiar with working in older ones, newer ones, to see what we're up against as far as working inside the cemetery, so that we can put an article next year maybe to lay them out. I mean, this, honestly, it's kind of crazy. It's like playing Tetris. I mean, it's kind of, it's how we can, the maps all have to fit, and then you sell a half a lot, and then you sell a full lot, and then you sell, you know, it's not been an easy task.
Right.
The other thing you gotta do too is you gotta change your rules and regulations, as we talked about, because we need to add the fees that Dignified are gonna be charging for the burials. And you also have to add the fee for, we've made a decision tentatively that we are going to start recording the deeds at the registry, because that's the other hurdle we run into, is when a family member passes on, no one in the world has any idea where the deed is, and it's absolutely impossible, illegal, to bury someone that you don't have the right to bury in that spot. So, putting it at the registry, just like buying your house. After someone passes on, you would have an idea of what lot, where they are, you know, it's just been, but I think if we can move that straight forward, I think that's the easiest thing we can do, is just, I know you wanna, dying to ask a question, I can just say.
We've had issues, or not so much here, but I've heard issues in town where people have bought a lot and say the mother and father's buried there and 2 kids and there's still, and they've been cremated, there's still room for several others. Somewhere in that deed has to be that it goes in sequence. It's the parents, the children, the grandchildren, whatever, because otherwise you can't put other people in that lot.
So it's
We
been
can't
my,
make
it's
that
my
decision.
understanding that what you can do is, when you buy the deed, you can, say you buy a 6-person lot, you name 6 people that you're gonna put there. Intent is usually, if it's a husband and a wife and 4 kids. Okay, that's nice, but your 4 kids sometimes will grow up, move on, get married, go to another state, have no desire to come back here. What that does, though, is it gives them, they have some say in who can go in there. But without that, we don't know.
Right.
Because we're dealing with a couple now that he wants to be buried with his mother, and the young man's left with the urn, but he doesn't know where the deed is or anything, so we're trying to get through that. But again, nothing concrete.
No.
But we just have to lay it out a little better, you know, going forward, you know. I just think if we do it and do it right, the money's there for cypre money, is just, that can be spent. It's a motion at the town meeting to spend X amount of money, and it's all money that can be spent within the walls, and it's all taken out of that cypre money.
Right.
So, that's moving along. I think we've been fortunate enough.
When are you meeting with that gentleman from Concord?
I haven't set anything up yet. Are you interested?
Charles said, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't set anything up with him yet, just because it's just been crazy this week with everything going on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, let me know though. Sit down and I'm gonna
okay.
understand that better.
I have not gotten a hold of the locksmith yet. He actually moved out of Weare. I gotta find him.
I'm getting ready with the battery operated Sawzall to open that
I
thing
know.
up. Ricky
It's all you
said,
would
let's
take.
do it. Find
I
out
think
what's
it's all
in
you
it.
just do is drill it out, but, I don't have anything more that have changed on my list. The bathroom renovations we talked about, but I think now, going forward, we could have something. We had the one bid. I don't think insurance was an issue, but I didn't get a return spot, so, I don't wanna give a name or whatever, because that's not fair, if he wants to bid again, so. The last thing I do have that's not on here is, as the chief mentioned earlier, we have, the collective bargaining agreement is up in March. So typically we start meeting and negotiating, and the selectmen have a negotiating team and the police have a negotiating team. So the negotiating team always consists of our attorney, myself, and no more than 2 board members. typically, I think Sherry, you were part of it last time.
Yeah.
We tried to meet around 3 o'clock, I think, because that
Yeah.
was in the middle of the shift change, so that there was somebody that was done versus coming in. I remember Wednesdays being the best day. So that doesn't leave a lot of option for anybody. I mean, I don't know who anybody wants to be on the team.
I would not be available during the business day.
Okay. Would you be interested in an evening? We've done those too.
I think it's best, given my involvement with the PD, that I not be involved in the negotiations.
Okay, fair enough.
I'd like to see Kevin on it.
Yeah, I think Kevin would be good with his experience, with his previous business, you said. I think he'd be an awesome
I
candidate
think
for
that would
that.
be an asset.
Yeah. There's a good chance I'll be, I don't know the dates, but.
Yeah, no, and I'm looking
I'll be out of
to,
the country for a month.
yeah, I received an email from Brandon today, from yesterday afternoon, and asked about, trying to get together as far as picking out some dates and availability, which is the first step. Who's gonna be on the team, what dates work best, and what time works best. That's kind of what we're after just right now.
First 3 weeks of October, definitely not on the table right now, for me.
So we typically would like to be done before we start budget season, because there's a lot of things in there that may have cost implications to the budget. So, I'd like to, and we've also been down there in the last minute when it's snowing, or up here snowing, because you had to be done by 5 o'clock and call it a tentative agreement. So I'd like to get started, that's why I'm throwing it out there. I mean, we probably could maybe lock it up in a few meetings. I can't imagine there's a whole lot to talk about.
Well, if you want to go last week of September or the last week of October. But in between then, right now, I have plane tickets.
Okay. I mean, I'm okay for the end of October. I don't, Sherry, did you want to be on it again?
Sure,
Okay.
yeah. I'll do
We'll
it
look
with
at the end
Kevin.
of October.
End of October.
And is there a night, does Wednesday work?
I'll just make it work.
Okay.
No, I've got conservation, if you're doing it at night. I've got historical society. I've got,
Oh, well, I'm looking at
Several
trying to
Wednes- any
do,
night
what
but
we did
Wednesdays
last time
are
with
rough.
them was 3 o'clock, so if you had somebody on the day,
no.
and you had somebody coming in at night,
Yeah.
Chris let them be there together. Kind of that 3 o'clock was that midpoint.
Yeah.
That shift change.
Right, and so if we got together, then nobody was coming in too early or staying too late.
No, if it's at 3, no later than 5, 3 to 5. I
Yeah,
can
we
go.
usually stuck no more than 2 hours.
Right.
And then sometimes it ended quicker than that if we had to deplete for something
Okay.
going on. So the end of October, Wednesdays, 3-ish. And then, looking at the agenda, I'm not, because we don't have a full board, I'm not going to do I have a couple of non-publics, but you guys have always talked about doing non-public with the whole 5 of you, so
Yep.
I'm just gonna leave the non-public off. I do have one correspondence when you get to that, I think I forwarded all of you, talking about, the transfer station.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got it. Yeah.
That's all I have.
Any board members got any correspondence, other business?
I have other business, if nobody else has anything. Hearing nothing. Naomi, the MS9 report that Beth provided for us, the last one, July 31st, 2022.
Yeah.
There's 4 lines in there that I'd like to get some information about, if you can get that for me. 290032, bridge improvement, about halfway down. The one underneath that, cemetery construction, 290033. 3/4 of the way down, Chase Park, I assume that's Park. I'm assuming that's repair and maintenance, 290061. And then recreational development improvement, 290062.
Okay.
Can we go back and find the language for those warrant articles that created those? I'm curious as
Yes,
to the
we
purpose
actually
of those.
have taken, yeah, that's as simple.
Okay. Because another thing I was questioning, I drive by the cemetery by the East Weare Fire Station multiple times a day. And I've noticed that there are headstones that are starting to topple over. What is the process to get that fixed? Is that on us? Is that on the owner of that site or family members? Or is that a town issue that needs to be addressed? And what line would that
I'd have to
come out of?
ask Terry,
Okay.
because I don't really know where you guys are in charge, so I don't know who it is.
If it comes out of the town, we need to go around and start making sure we get just out of respect for those there, we need to get those headstones vertical again.
Well, that comes
And
out
where
of
did you say
Cypress.
that was?
The one by the East Ware Fire Station?
Oh, there's a lot of
Across from
them,
Sugar Hill?
Oh, that's the Eaton one.
right, Weare Center, the old Weare Center
I'm
one.
sure
They're
they-
all tipped in there,
They're out
they've
there.
knocked them down. They're running over them with the lawnmower,
Yeah.
so,
I don't know
not
what we
good.
can do about getting that addressed, but if possible, I'd like to at least get some of them addressed before snowfall, if possible.
I gave you a business card once of a guy that does that work.
I'm sure it's still on my desk.
Yeah.
Along with millions
He
of
does,
papers.
he does Henniker cemeteries. I believe he's out of Milford.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine.
And then whatever that cost would be, would that come out of this? Could that
So
come
you
out of
wanna
this?
look at the original intent as to how they were set up and what you could spend money on?
Correct.
Right.
And can we put money back into it, or is it a one-time only?
You can always put money back in.
Okay. Yeah, the intent is the primary thing.
Okay. Actually, we did take the time, and that was a great project. Somebody took the time and went a little at a time. They took the whole, I have a whole Excel spreadsheet, and every tab has every fund.
All the,
And then-
all the warrant articles
Yeah,
and language
and
to
the
it,
And the
perfect.
votes and the whole thing.
Okay, that'd be great. Because I know Parks and Rec is considering going to CIP or to us this year to potentially ask for some kind of a revolving fund for Chase Park. And if Chase Park repair and maintenance can be used for that, seeing as how that fund already exists on paper.
So it would have existed as a capital reserve fund, which is 35-1. You have to do 31-995C, I believe, is the revolving fund statute for state law,
Okay,
set up under a different RSA.
okay. So I'm not familiar with all this, is why I'm asking
Because
this
the
question.
revolving fund has to have certain purpose,
Okay.
and you have to vote on that, just like you did with Benji's this year.
Yep,
So when we set that up originally, it was probably just a capital reserve fund under the RSA
Yep.
for repairs and maintenance. Two different ones, so you'd have to start one.
is there another report like this that we can be given that shows all the revolving funds that we have?
Beth has a different format than that.
Okay.
I do those.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, because I don't know how many revolving funds we have active.
yeah, I can get you that.
Thank you.
She can email it to you.
Naomi, can you send that out also? Maybe the whole board would like to see it.
Yeah, I thought she sent it to you a little while ago.
She may have.
I think she sent
she
it.
did.
She did send it to you and said it had not been, she had
Audited.
not verified it, but it had every capital account, we had every,
Was that in July?
no, just recently.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, maybe.
Oh, maybe I missed.
It's a different format, it's this way,
Okay.
and it's got everything, it's got your revolving funds, it's got everything.
7-8.
No,
7-8?
no, it looked a little different than that.
Okay.
It was a different one. Anyway, I can
I'll
forward
tell-
it to
Yeah,
you.
if you don't mind, that'd be great. Thank you. That's all I have.
Any other board members got anything to bring up?
Is this time to take the letter that I forwarded you about the transportation, or is that not correspondence? I forwarded you guys all a letter regards the plastic.
Yeah, clear bags.
No, it was regarding when are we gonna look at doing
Oh,
plastic
plastic
again.
recycle again? Should we
It's just a-
table
it's
that?
It's another person.
Should we table that
I
till
didn't get
Ben
this
gets
one.
back?
Oh, yeah, I did. This
Yeah,
is
I
Chris.
sent-
Yeah.
it's Chris
Yeah,
Haig.
yeah, I did read it.
Chris Haig sent you guys an
Oh.
email.
Yeah.
I forwarded to you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It just
think,
had to do with the plastics.
yeah, I think that's a conversation for
Yep.
DPW director.
And then, I don't know, John Van, do you, you all got an email this afternoon, I believe,
We
about
got,
the tennis court?
yeah,
Yes.
I saw that, yeah. I have not had a chance to go down and look at it.
Okay, well, she sent pictures, so,
Yeah, I looked at them.
I don't know,
Yeah,
I just think it's unfortunate that we just turned around and did it all, and then somebody's gonna go vandalize it.
Yeah, it's kinda, I went over looking at it.
I thought there was a lock on
it's-
that.
It's kids being kids.
Yeah, but I thought there was a lock. They had,
There is a lock on there, but, so if we keep that locked, who do we give the code to?
So you put a sign that says, due to vandalism, dial this number for access.
Okay,
And then it would call somebody and it could probably be right over here or wherever.
so.
And you could either give them the code, you can dial, you can get a code that you set the number.
Mhm.
I mean, it's gotta be a better way, after we just spent all this money for one weekend, and the first weekend it gets,
kids get in there.
kids get in
raising
there,
hell.
they got a skateboard park to go play in, they don't have to play here.
So if we go that route,
It's my suggestion only.
No, it's a valid suggestion, but, whose phone number would that be? Would that be Park and Rec Director?
It's something we have to talk about, this is just I mean, if you put a lock there,
Then
It
you
has to be,
don't-
it has to be available for any town resident.
absolutely, I'm not
Right.
shutting them out, but it would save somebody driving over with their bicycles and
Agreed.
skateboards and
Yeah.
gouging it all up and doing
Yeah.
everything else that they just did. That's crazy.
Yeah.
One weekend in, and here we are.
If we lock it, or if it does get locked, we just have to make sure we find a way to give
Yep.
everybody
I'm
in
looking
town
to
access
get it
to any-
open, but there's gotta be a way of also trying to deter what happened.
But that's, again, it's like, regulating, I mean, someone's gonna leave it unlocked, they're gonna walk out, the lock's
gonna
gonna be
forget.
left
The police
somewhere.
is-
I mean,
yeah,
yeah,
Right.
it's really gonna be a tough one. I mean, as I was coming here, I mean, people were arriving
Yeah, I know.
to start playing at 6:30 at night.
Unless you buy cameras,
Exactly.
it's the only thing you can do.
Do we have a sign now on there that says they can't?
No entrance.
No, I mean, talks about, the whole list of rules talked about no skateboards, no
Oh, yeah,
bikes,
yeah,
no
yeah,
this,
yeah.
no
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate.
Oh,
You're
absolutely.
never gonna change that, I
All the
don't
hard
know.
work that was.
I don't
put
know how
into
you're
that.
gonna do it. It's just all it probably was occurring before and you didn't know it, because of the
Yeah,
condition.
It's already bad.
Yeah, the
Right.
condition it was
So
in.
now you put in a fresh new surface with fresh new lines and it shows up,
Yep.
Yeah,
just like that fresh car with a scratch.
Yeah, when the guy opens
You know what I
it.
mean? That happens, but it's just, I think it's a little heart-wrenching to think that we spent that much money for one weekend and
Mhm.
here we are. Because they only put the nets back up Thursday.
Yep.
They kept everybody off it so it would cure, and then here we are. It's too bad. But we'll have to think about how you could do that, because you're right, it needs to be open to everybody.
Yep. And while I like the idea of having the phone number call to get access, but then at that point, somebody's gotta man the phones, and then somebody's gotta police it to make sure it gets locked up afterwards.
It could be a keypad code that locks behind you, as you shut it, every time you go in and out.
Shut
you
the
have to
door, it
access
locks, yeah, automatically locks.
The inside out, it would push push.
We have to think about it.
Yeah, that's another. But then that talks all kinds of stuff. But people witnessed didn't the email read that they witnessed the young people that were doing this?
No.
No, I don't think it
It
did.
didn't?
No, I don't think it
No.
said that.
Okay.
I think somebody'd like to witness somebody. Just kidding.
Sometimes setting example helps, you know what I mean? Catching the culprit,
Catching one or two of them.
right?
They don't do that business anymore.
Oh, you could
It's
always put a
so
game
many.
camera
Get
up over
so many.
there for a short time somewhere.
It would do an awful lot of clicking. As they're jumping around, hitting the ball back and forth.
Oh, true. Every time.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time the ball got batted back and forth, the camera would be going off.
No, I was just thinking that if it was set up there in the afternoon after people were done playing, somebody just turned it on.
It requires manual intervention. Who's gonna turn it on? What if they forget?
I don't know where you could put a trail camera that,
Yeah, I don't
Kinda
think
invisible.
that's feasible.
Can I make a suggestion?
Well, you wouldn't.
Sure, go ahead, yeah, absolutely.
You would want it to be visible as a deterrent.
Can I have your name?
Alex.
Alex.
Yeah.
I was-
Alexandra.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, it's the only person I didn't know.
So what about putting up just signage that says this tennis court is, or this area is under surveillance? Right, technically it is, right, if the police are coming by once in a while.
Yeah.
County
Maybe
officials
have-
are coming by, technically it is. and
Maybe have the police go through on a regular basis.
Just to get people to think, all right, maybe I'm being watched.
Yeah.
Just put up some dummy cameras.
Temporary solution.
Yeah.
Some dummy
Oh,
cameras,
I would-
maybe.
Yeah,
Or dummy cameras, yeah, yeah.
maybe we shouldn't talk about that.
I don't know, the 5 people that watch us on YouTube are probably smart enough about that already.
I'm just,
Yeah.
I don't know.
think
I'm
I mean,
sure they're all
it's a
watching.
very valid concern, and
I think you blew it.
I feel bad for the amount of damage that was done.
Yeah.
I just, short of an electronic lock that was suggested, I don't know what a better solution would be at the moment.
Yeah, I don't either. Nice to think you could call somebody, but
Yeah, there's,
Yeah, we could create an app. You go to the app, and the app tells you the code, last 30 seconds, get in, now you're done.
kinda like it does here.
Yeah,
I can buzz you
exactly,
in
and then
from
take a
upstairs, but you gotta
selfie.
hurry up.
Yeah, we could build an app,
Yeah, no, I know.
the tennis court app. It
know
actually would
anything.
work, though, believe it or not.
I'm sure it would.
I got one thing that's been bothering me since a couple days ago. I have a question for Selectman Van. We all got an email from, on radio update, and there's one sentence in there that bothers me, John.
what's that?
After being authorized by Selectman Van to speak with Bill about getting an example, you cannot, as a single individual, authorize anybody to get anything. It has to be a board decision. And this is the second time this issue's come up to do with radios. That you authorize somebody to do something.
To speak to two-way, correct. To get information,
But
correct.
It's, as a selectman, you can't do that. It has to come before the board.
To gather information?
Yeah.
If that's,
You
if that's, if that's the intent, then yes, I will do.
I
will make
don't
sure that
believe you
happens.
can authorize anybody to get information on behalf of the town by yourself. It has to come by the board. That's my opinion.
I respect your opinion, but I do disagree in this particular case.
Huh? Okay. But I just wanted to bring it up. Anybody got anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, all in favor?
Second it.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.